You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
It's a bird.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
That's what we got going on in Wilks' background.
Yeah.
Oh! That's a jam right there,
man.
Hey, man, it has been a minute. It has been a minute since the forecast. The actual forecast has been on the show.
Yeah.
I would say months. I wouldn't say weeks, months.
Yeah, we finally worked out the contract dispute. And it came out, I gave a little, they gave a little, and we worked it out for the greater good. I took a little lower salary so we could keep the talent that we have on the roster, you know what I'm saying?
He did the hometown discount,
Yeah.
Good thing I live in Illinois. My hometown in Chicago.
For the people.
Yeah. But welcome again to the forecast. Myself, HRap, Wilks, King Dawk. If it's your first time tuning in, we appreciate you. Jump in the chat as we have this conversation tonight about Little White Lies. This was recommended by HRap. And this is right up our alley right here. This is definitely a perfect one for all four of us to be on. This is the forecast. We review movies, films, documentaries, a completely different way, 4 different perspectives. And we review Black films. They sometimes don't get a lot of love. So we got to make sure that we give them that love and that we also review them critically and not giving it too much love, but being honest about it.
Give me a 20. Give me a 20. Did you say
critically? Yes, that's a word. I don't know if it is. I'm just joking.
I was gonna say I don't go roll with it.
Hey, if Jesse Jackson can make up words,
it works.
I can make up words.
We're the challenge flag at it.
It's Scrabble. But glad to be on, man. Glad to be on with you fellas once again. Let's go around the room. HRap, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right. King Dawk back. Talk about your travels and
oh man,
where you been?
Where have I been? So obviously, covering the Stars. So Minnesota, Vegas, covering the Stars and their series, which has been a blast, and some of the connections and elbows that you're rubbing with that are just fascinating to say the least. And then after that, went to go support a friend of BS3 Network and Queen 3 and King and comedian Mike James, a gentleman who has his own dry bar comedy special, and a buddy of his in Godfrey, comedian who is a beast. And after seeing him in 2 different shows, this is a cat who did 2 different 90-minute sets. They were almost completely different. And I don't know a comedian out there right now who could do that.
Godfrey.
And have basically who could basically do 2 different shows Friday and Saturday, that much material, and it's all hidden. And from what Mike tells me, he could do it a third day if he wanted to, because the brother generally, he's just so smart, man. And when you want to talk about enlightened and woke, Cat is woke. You ain't fooling him nothing. He has a podcast as well, in Godfrey We Trust. So a lot of connections there. We got to roll and see Ali's burial site while we were there in Louisville, Kentucky, and
Nice.
And go see Churchill Downs and stuff like that. So it was a fantastic trip. So I'm back for a week, but I will be out 2 weeks after that, because I'll be in the U.S. Virgin Islands on a cruise, kind of relaxing and drinking some fruity shit.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Definitely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right, Wilks.
Doing pretty good. Doing all right.
Let's talk about this strawberry tres leche shit I just saw, man.
Yes, let's talk about that. So I put it together Sunday morning.
Whole head in the screen, though. First of all, I mean, I'm cool with the lighting, but we can't see your whole head. Or is that just
It's probably the camera, man. The camera
bring the camera down a little bit. There you
the camera
go.
be acting up.
More,
you ain't. I know you ain't been confused with being just a handsome dude, but you're not ugly either. So let's get you all in here.
It's like home improvement.
I thought he was home improvement, but
Yeah, right.
Wilson. Yeah. So
right.
yeah. No, but yeah, no. I made it Sunday morning because it's got to sit overnight. And actually, one of my good friends, we used to work together, and she sent me a picture of one. It's like a food truck in Alabama, and I'm like, well, I can't go to Alabama and taste it.
Right. Yeah.
Then of course, her words were, "Oh, you should make this." I'm like, you don't send me nothing like that and tell me I should make it. Of course, I'm gonna make it. So I ended up making it, and turned out really good.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
I'll be taking something to work because we're not gonna eat all that.
Hey, man.
Huh?
Yeah, we play. Yes,
Hey, man. I mean, I'm right around the corner.
Oh, I can run you some.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can run you a few.
Run
I'll
me
run you a
my
few
money.
pieces.
Run me my money, Smokey.
Be like, what's his name on the
Not that I
American
need
Gangster?
it.
Where's
Trust
my
me,
money?
I don't need it.
Where's my money? But Denzel asked him where his money at. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he's gonna shoot him on the street.
And what's in the glass this evening, sir?
It's an Old Faithful. It's just a mimosa.
Okay.
Champagne and orange juice. Can't go
Okay.
wrong with champagne and orange juice. It's,
Yeah. Never
it's a classic. It's a classic.
never go wrong with that.
Well, we the Queens and one of my cousins exposed me to the Rocks tequila this past weekend.
Aramana,
So
baby.
I've had Kevin Hart's tequila, and I wasn't impressed at all. But the Rocks tequila is much better. So,
that's all I
that
drink.
and full glasses of Casamigos in the building. That's all you drink is the Rocks tequila.
Oh, that's all I drink.
Have y'all tasted LeBron's?
No,
It
it keeps
I haven't.
the bottle keep falling down. So I don't know.
Wow.
Gonna stay upright.
Ah,
Yeah, we're not
It
talking
keep-
about Anthony
it
Davis.
keep flopping.
Yeah, we're talking about
It
LeBron.
keep flopping. Shit.
you flopped. Oh man, flops tequila.
Every time you pull out a shot glass, it flops.
All right, let's give a couple shout outs in the chat. And also we got game 5 in the
How's
NBA
that going?
Finals. Denver is looking to finish off Miami, which I think is going to happen. It's no better time right now.
Might as well,
At
yeah.
home. So
And it is on the 10th anniversary of the Mavericks winning their championship with Dirk. So
wow,
this is 10 years to the day. So
Wow.
if they finish it out, it'll be some symmetry with the type of player that Nowitzki was and Jokic,
Jokic,
Euros and whatnot.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. And really, until Jamal Murray, Jokic really didn't have a standout number 2. He had somebody that got hot, so to speak, and Murray may end up being that superstar, but Dirk didn't have a real number 2 superstar. He had some excellent role players.
yeah, he had some threes. Jason Terry had
Right.
even
Was it what was that foreigner that shooter that we had that got
Peja.
hot on? Yeah, Peja Stojakovic.
they had him for 1
Oh
year.
yes. I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah. Whatever happened?
You had the Matrix,
Sean
and then,
Marion,
and then
yeah,
of
yeah.
course,
Jason Kidd was on the
Jason
back
Kidd.
end. His
Yeah.
career, but
Yeah, but he still contributed big time to that run, man. You know, and even Peja, like when they swept to LA, you can really give Peja a bunch of credit because he was lights out during that. And I think on the Mother's Day Massacre, you know, he was a big, you know, reason why they did what they did. You know, so
yeah. All right, so we got April Showers. Thank you for tuning in. She said my jam.
Yeah, 12 years to the day. My fault. I said 10. It's 12 years.
Theodora Blue Street in the building. Thank you for tuning in. We got Jungle Brother in the building. We got Christina. Thank you for tuning in.
Born Identity.
with a apostrophe.
Or Born Supremacy. Which one is it? Christina?
Right.
Hell, we need to know.
We got DJ Knox in the building. He said Ben Wilks, Dawk, and Dr. Bishop Brian D. Williams Jr. Senior the Third Esquire.
You got it, Anthony.
We got Keisha in the building. Thank you for joining in on the Dear Mama series. Thank you for stepping in. And she'll probably be coming up as well when Dawk's out for the next 2 weeks. And I'll be contacting some other people too, so we can get some other newcomers on the show. Cole Sports in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Bring back that beat. He forgot. It's been a minute.
Cole Sports. That's what I was gonna say.
We got William Harper. Thank you for tuning in. The Rock for the win. He says talking about tequila.
Yeah.
Have y'all tasted LeBron's?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Somebody say, yo, what's up? If you're in the Facebook group, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so we can see who you are. C said, keep up the great work, everyone. 12 years to the day. So the Mavs won it in 2011. Aaron Gordon has 3 fouls, Jamal Murray and Nicolo with 2 each. I would say, man, if all possible, finish this off, man.
Yeah.
Do it in front of your home crowd.
Get it
Thank
over.
you, Information Man Show, for tuning in. This show is live on Sundays at 4:30 ish Central Time. Make sure to check
let
out
me give a shout out to a couple of folks that I see that's watching. I'm gonna have to start doing this more often, pulling up Facebook and see who's watching that don't comment.
Yeah.
I got my auntie in the building named Marita. She's watching. My cousin Tracy, she's watching. So appreciate y'all support. Aunt Marita, fortunately, she went to church Saturday morning for a prayer breakfast, and when she came over Saturday for my nephew's party, she didn't drink up all my wine this time since she had been to church. So I appreciate you for leaving me my wine.
Leaving you with some left over.
Yeah.
Keith Lee, thank you for tuning in. Said One Love Brothers.
Yeah, is that Keith Lee that used to play for Memphis? I bet HRap remember that. You remember Keith Lee back in the day, man? That's old school.
The Bulls drafted him.
Did they? Yeah, Keith Lee was a bad boy.
What does that sound like?
Yeah, he was a bad boy. Y'all was just young.
I don't remember him.
Then. Y'all was just young.
That name sounds familiar, but
we were probably about 11 or 12 or somewhere in there.
Oh.
That's when Memphis used to be Memphis State.
Yeah.
All right. Little White Lie. It is available on Amazon. I watched it actually on YouTube. YouTube has movies.
Yeah,
well,
they do.
Let me get to this comment, and that concludes church announcements.
All right, Sister Ara.
Yeah,
Deacon Trustee
on the sick and shut-in list.
Right. All right, so Little White Lie, man, this was definitely, like I said, one up our alley. It was just an hour. Like, I felt like, let's get into some initial thoughts. I felt like it was perfect. I felt like it gave you that suspense, and I believe this was probably her first. Lacey Swartz, this was her first film. I think first and maybe only, but the way she really helped put it together, I felt like was done very well, and I would love to see more from her. If she's made more films or documentaries, I'll definitely be interested.
I'd love to see more from her.
Yeah, front and back.
She can get this kosher. She can get this kosher.
Kosher, baby.
HRap, give me your initial thoughts.
My initial thoughts, you guys know, it's an excellent film. Very interesting topic. it takes it's this struck a chord with me in a lot of different ways. So it was just, I just wait to get into the conversation, but it was excellent. My initial thoughts is wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And we watched this as a family. So my wife watched it.
Interesting.
Ari watched it, and she was like, "Who is this?
Because Ari, hey, save that, because that's probably some gold. Ari will speak your mind. If she got a question, she gonna ask.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So I'm interested to see if she reacted.
There is never a dull moment when she is around.
Yeah.
I don't care what movie it is.
True.
All right, Wilks, initial thoughts.
Well, I got to stop trying to watch it right after the show because I fell asleep watching it last Monday. But I watched it again yesterday, and I couldn't. Man, the first 20 minutes, I'm just like, come on, what am I watching here? And then of course, I felt like an hour was enough because it was.
What's up, CJ?
I mean, you really didn't have to go into much. I mean, it was okay from what I was watching, but I just couldn't believe how everybody was going along with this. Like nobody started asking questions. Like what's happening here? But I know I'm jumping forward, but I love that look the sister gave the mom or the other sister at the funeral, because it's kind of like they ain't say nothing, but they kept looking at her like, okay, so this is what we doing,
Yeah.
How long you been holding this one? But I'm like, but it ain't on her though. I'm like, how y'all not ask questions? How y'all not know?
Yeah.
Tell her, oh, your great grandfather was Sicilian. I was like, what?
So it skipped other generations, and then when it got to me, that's when I got the dark.
HRap, will you correct these brothers and let them know that is possible to happen? That's not great. Haven't y'all had a family that was all predominantly darker skinned, and then all of a sudden one light baby?
I had a very light skinned cousin. We're not coming all the way from 1918 and 2023. I mean, goddamn. I mean,
there is a recessive gene that will come up every now and then.
Like what?
But Cole, I agree with you, man. The trailer did hook you in to HRap's point. All right, Dawk, initial thoughts.
Yeah, so let me do.
We got music in the background, CJ.
Let me do my thing here. So, filmmaker Lacey Schwartz thinks her dark skin and hair are from a Sicilian ancestor. When she uncovers a lie that haunted her parents' marriage, she begins a journey to reconcile her past as she embraces her African-American heritage, part of the Independent Lens series that started in 1999. So that's another thing, that the Independent Lens is a documentary producer, and they have 24 seasons out. So they pump out the documentary,
Okay.
So like this, the particular one was released in their 15 year in business, which is in 2014. Again, Lacey Schwartz Delgado is who released it and filmed it. She is the main subject matter, the girl who was raised as Jewish, but she was Black. Peggy Schwartz was her mama. Robert Schwartz Robert Schwartz was her the dad that raised her, and Rodney Parker was her bio dad. So and again, let me just say this, because during this film I made sure to watch it from a couple of different perspectives, because there's a thought-provoking perspective and then there's a filmmaking perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
To where, because as I'm thinking and gearing toward my mic ratings at the end, I gotta consider both, right? How was it made as a film, and what thought did it provoke?
Yeah. And when was this? What was that date it was made? Was that 2004?
14.
14.
Okay.
14.
Well, it was released in 2014, so theoretically,
maybe
a couple years before that. Or there you go.
Well, it definitely had some age on it, which you could tell.
Yeah.
But the content of it was
and another thing that gave lend credence to that is the fact that she was doing filming throughout her life. So that's another reason why some of the shots may have looked more aged than it really was.
She was using home videos, really.
That's right.
The artist currently known as the Bonita A. Whitfield in the building when the album dropping, when the single. Go ahead, Will.
Invite us to a release party.
No, I was just wait a minute. What's this? Really?
Hey, Wilks is the 5-star restaurant.
Man.
Wilks don't go to the 5-star. He is the 5-star.
He never fails to remind me. No, I was just.
I'm in the kitchen next Thursday.
He said, "I watched this with my Dr. Umar thinking cap on."
That's dangerous, boy.
To Doc's point, where he was talking about, some of the content was still kind of relevant, to this day, and maybe some things look older. And what kept sticking out to me, I don't know if that other lady was her sister, but how she was just saying like, well, hang on.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So I was doing that in the movie.
Well, she probably was, but it wasn't hers. But you know how they spit it back. But never mind. Anyway, so
Queef.
I'm sorry.
I do the show for Wilks.
Y'all in the dirty.
Nobody else. Just understand that, audience. No disrespect. I love all you, but I do the show for Wilks. I'm telling you right now.
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate it. But the one thing that just kept standing out to me is that how the mom, like they would say, oh yeah, she's good at just like, if she sees something, she's good at blocking it out. She just ignores it. And if she saw what she thought she saw, that can't be real. That doesn't exist. I can't imagine what other important topics she would treat like that. I mean, if you're gonna do your own daughter like that, and then you're literally like telling yourself, Robert is the husband. I mean, Robert is the dad. Robert is the dad. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah,
like,
she
and nobody
convinced herself,
right,
of the lie. She believed the lie.
Nah, she was just a creep, man. I mean, I was talking earlier today. She didn't convince herself of that lie. She just didn't want to give up that good life. She was living a posh life.
She even admitted at some point that the finances of her dad that raised her was a factor, so she kept it real.
Yeah, because she asked her.
I don't think she tried to.
And the fact that she had a baby with Rodney. Rodney is one of the top blackest male names of all time. Right, Tyrone, Rodney. It's just
Leroy.
So when she said Rodney, I was like, oh yeah, this dude dark. Now he wasn't dark though, but you knew Rodney. She met Rodney when she was.
Look. She met Rodney at a basketball court. That says so.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Right.
In the Harlem.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get to some comments. You can tell she ain't came across those niggas before ever in her life. Because we could have told her straight up. Yeah. Even when she went back, she was a little like, yeah, this is a black neighborhood, and her daughter was like, yeah, obviously. Dummy.
So he's basically saying that the mama never came across no niggas in her life. Is that what he's saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, the girl too, though.
The girl said she didn't until she got to high school.
Oh yeah,
I'm wondering who CJ was referring to, the mama or the daughter.
The mama or the daughter.
Yeah,
harlot is a nice word.
Mm-hmm.
She was a hoe.
Yeah. Go ahead and put that back up. She kept it real, but she's still a harlot. Let's go ahead and leave that up for a second, so we can kind of cover, because when a comment allows us to cover an aspect of the film, let's go ahead and throw it out there. So she toward the end, when her daughter was talking to her again, I think this was her second conversation with her mom. She was like, "Okay, when did you live in XYZ area?"
She was grilling her.
1968. Okay, when did you start at the Parks and Rec department? 1968. When did you meet Rodney? 1968. When did you get married to dad? 1968. Okay. Was the light bulb moment. So did you start having an affair with Rodney before you got married to dad or after?
Right.
She told her before. So 1968 was a good year for her.
It was.
Got a new job, got some new dick, and a new husband.
And Lacey wasn't born until 1977. So she was getting it in for 9 years. She was
getting it in for a while.
Yeah. Like,
getting all that culture.
That Hebrew National. Golden Brooks, thank you for telling me.
He brewed all right.
Wow.
He brewed in that.
Wow. I'm distancing from that comment. The views expressed here are not those of BS3 Network, even though it was BS3.
Oh, he brewed, all right.
Yeah,
Brewed in that
a
coochie.
Jewish woman wanted that chocolate. The story writes itself.
It does.
Hey, this
Yeah.
I said this before we started. This was a real life Jungle Fever story.
Yeah.
Like
There you
Spike.
go.
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
absolutely, absolutely.
And Annabella Square, who played in that movie, yeah, she can get this jungle, boy. I'm telling you.
Her mama was tossing it up in the air, leaving it there.
Well, he was putting it above her rim though.
Yeah.
And she told her where Rodney stayed. She goes, "Yeah, Rodney's apartment was up there." That means she had been in that motherfucker about.
Oh, yeah.
I was in
Bunch of
that
time.
motherfucker about
A
8
few
years.
times.
Every
times.
lunch break,
Being
my
around the
ass
hill.
was over there.
The mom started looking trashy after that divorce, just like how a lot of black men like him looking toe up. Now,
I bet she
No,
did
no.
that.
that was a long time ago, though.
She ain't
That was
wrong.
like,
No, let me say
Yeah,
this.
yeah, let us say what she think.
I ain't never see a picture of the mama, which name is Peggy. I ain't never see a picture of Peggy where Peggy looked good.
Right.
on that
Rodney
wedding day.
wasn't
That was
knocking
about
it
it.
down. Rodney wasn't knocking it down because she was fine. Hell.
She putting that nose candy in her.
And but then the fact that Rodney had how many different kids? 7 different kids by 3 or 4
Right.
different mamas.
Thank you.
Rodney was not picky.
Hey, that revolving door, baby.
Yeah. Rodney was just trying to get his rocks out.
Right.
But Benita, we're talking about Little White Lie. It's available on Amazon, available on YouTube. You can watch
Rodney
it there.
said, "Come one, come all."
Yeah.
18
We welcome
to
you
80,
once,
dope,
we
crippling,
welcome you
crazy.
twice. We welcome you 3 times.
Man.
So
lined up.
it opens up with Lacey getting married. Now they didn't go back to that really until the end. I felt like that was
Right.
good cinematography right there, because obviously if they would have went through the whole thing about her getting married and stuff, like I think it would have kind of took away from the story. So I felt like that was good the way they did that. HRap.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise at the end to see her get married, and then it was cool to see her get married to a homeboy. But
Yeah, that was the highlight. That was a highlight of, and then the mom and the dad. Yeah,
but this movie was a tragedy, actually, man. Because let's just be honest. We laughing and joking, and we calling, and we doing a little name calling like we always do. But she put that young lady's life in jeopardy, man. You pretending to be something that she's not, just to protect your own best interest. What happens if that girl has a medical issue that shows up in our community exclusively? She transitions at that point because you still keeping a lie going, and it makes me believe she would have never told the truth had she not been exposed. She would have died with that lie in her mouth.
She said that. She goes, what did she say? She said if I cheated with the white man, this would have never came out. She said that.
Yeah.
Peggy was keeping it real, whether
she
y'all
was keeping it real. Yeah, she was. And to me though, it's kind of a thin line though. She was keeping it real, but she also didn't seem to show no remorse.
Yeah.
In the end, when she started crying.
Yeah, like, she was crying because she was like, man, I needed Rodney to hit it one more time.
I told you she was crying because
she was crying because she knew she was about to get trashed in this entire film.
Yeah.
As far as we know, she probably kept kicking it with Rodney.
Rodney's still smashing Rodney, man.
Right.
No. Another title of this not to be titled
if you ask me.
Big Black Omission.
Anybody crying like that, he just pulled out.
What'd you just say, HRap? I didn't catch it.
It was too easy to find Rodney, so I believe she's been in contact with Rodney the whole time.
Absolutely.
It's a sad situation, man.
What's up, Fly Time?
And to be perfectly honest with you, and I hate to put a damper on it, this is the tragedy of the community. You never know who you are. You never know where you come from. You walk around this earth confused. But this time it was forced upon the individual.
Yeah. And if you look at any of the photos, while we're watching this, me and Eric are looking at each other like, you mean to tell me out of this entire photo, and they put a dark circle around her. Like you knew which one was her because she was darker than all of them.
Right.
Like,
you didn't have to circle her.
Yeah, no, we knew already.
She was circled. God circled her.
Yeah, I already do.
Yeah.
God colored her.
Right.
So Robert was her father, I would say, father that's not biological but took care of her. Bruce was her uncle. And to me, she didn't look like her dad or her mom, really. So that initially I was starting to think, okay, was she adopted? But then when she said, okay, she had birth, then that kind of ruled that out. But for a minute there, I was thinking like maybe she was adopted because the friends with school was asking her that. She started, I think she said at 11 or so, where she started to feel like, okay, I'm different.
Yeah,
she couldn't really put her finger on it yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wilks. You want to add something?
No, I was just gonna say because she started that. Well, I guess that was really because I know
Middle school,
I guess it was high school where they were asking her questions. They started asking, like you mentioned,
like what are they? Yeah. Go ahead, Keisha. She believed like Big Daddy Kane. She got the job done. No, she got the job done. All right. Peggy was cute. Keeping it real funny out there.
Keeping them real and keeping them to the side.
I'm getting a hint of black chick don't like white chick that's with the brother. You hear me? So Peggy getting a little bit more than the sister might have here.
I agree.
She stole a piece of chocolate.
I would have had to suck for the parent to dance around the issue for a child. I felt for it. Yeah, and the dad.
You can't tell me nobody came to her and didn't ask in her own family. There's no way nobody. I can't believe it.
Well, even when she was talking to her cousins, the cousins was like, "Yeah, I never really seen you as black until just now."
My cousin,
right.
You know, I can believe that. That's not a far fetched.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people who live life with blinders on and do it happily. And this is not surprising to me at all. In fact, if you want to know the truth, one of my thoughts is that this is a tame version of this. There's probably hundreds of stories like this out there that are just not getting made. You know, to where people are happily being ignorant. What they say, ignorance is bliss.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To piggyback on what you said, wartime. This is a microcosm of America today. We'll live with a pretty lie instead of dealing with the ugly truth.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you got people.
I mean, to HRap's point, I mean, look at it. I mean, we don't pull back the hood on the other.
Leave that one up for a minute, Ben.
Yeah.
You got protests going on. You got meetings after protests.
Mm-hmm.
You got the wartime.
There you go.
Come on, man. Y'all got parties being thrown.
Yep.
Come on, man. Because if you look close at some of these documentaries and some of these protests, there was some Hispanic people in there. There was some white people in there marching with. I mean, come on, man.
And plus, what's taboo is attractive. It's an aphrodisiac, right? What's taboo?
Absolutely.
But okay, so to Keisha's point, she goes, he couldn't see his chocolatey baby. I don't know if she's talking about the daddy or Rodney, but remember, Rodney in the first 3 years of Lacey's life, he kept saying, "That's my baby. That baby looked like me. You know it." Right. And the mama kept saying, "No, she don't." You know, she goes, "Because I couldn't see it until she was 3, and then I'm like, I couldn't deny it anymore." You know, say yes, she does.
That's when she was lying. I mean, I don't know the lady. I couldn't, I wasn't there to hold the light on it, but she was telling a lie.
I think there's a difference. She wasn't saying necessarily that that's not your baby. She may have been saying she doesn't look like you.
No. I think that's where the lie starts because she knew what she look like. Remember, just minutes ago we outlined the relationship. You started this relationship in 1968. This child got here 9 years later, and when that child is darker than everybody in the world, man. I mean, it's one thing for us to walk. When we see somebody in our community, no matter what complexion they are, we go, "You one of us."
Yeah.
But, bruh, that girl got full lips. That girl got a rounded nose. That girl was when she was a little girl, she looked like that. Don't nobody know a child more than their mama. When that child got here, she said, "Oh God."
Yeah, she knew it was right.
Prayed to white Jesus and prayed that that baby didn't darken up no more than it had to.
Yeah, she as soon as that baby came out, damn.
Right. I just can't see it. She
one of the men
part where she lied. And again, man, it's just like I told you, like this stirred up a lot of stuff in me. And even with just my identity, with my own personal identity, never met my dad. My father's family totally embraced me, never made me feel like an outsider. But it took this one instance to make me feel on the inside I was a Williams. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, I'm in. And it was, and so, and like y'all heard me say this before, you know, it took me having my son to understand some things about me, because my son, he was just in the chat room. I saw him do things that I do that he's never seen me do. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's why I get this from Pops. Because my dad died 4 months before I got here. So just imagine how many questions this young lady has about herself, probably even to this day, man.
Yeah. And I think the picture that said it all, when they were sitting at the table and Rodney was there, and the look on his face just looked like, I'm here, but I'm really not here. I'm here at this table, but my daughter doesn't really know who I am.
Right.
Because he was around the family. He was that family friend, which we heard this story numerous times.
He was the ticket guy. I just thought he was the guy with the ticket.
Right. You got that family friend, and it ended up being that's your dad. Yeah. And I don't know what type of, they didn't really talk about what type of arrangement, if they had one, as far as when and how often he's seen her. They didn't talk about that at all, which maybe there really wasn't. It
sounds like, based on the fact that she said within the 3 years, he kept saying, you know, that baby looked like me or whatever. Right. That I would imagine, based on that kind of job in the Parks and Rec department, she probably took the baby to work with on Saturdays, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Because she could get away with that on that kind of a job. You know?
Yeah, he probably saw quite a bit. It's just that it wasn't documented, or, you know, she definitely wasn't old. Probably when she started getting older, maybe that's when she kind of pulled back.
She would probably sleep in the stroller while he was hitting the mama on several occasions.
While she was holding the bottle, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And that's what I'm saying. I didn't believe that part when she said it took some years. Especially when you creeping with this dude. Look how low down this look. This woman is a skank. Let's keep it real funky. This lady's a skank, because not only were you cheating on this man for 10 years, and I get it, man. People make mistakes, but it's one thing to be a cheater, a serial cheater. You brought the homeboy in your house. Yeah, you got this dude who you sleep with.
This wasn't a mistake. A mistake is something you do and you learn from. She didn't learn. It just ended up being a situation, I think, where her husband was probably like, hey, this it. You ain't doing this no more. She was like, okay. Because when that baby came out, obviously, her husband had to been like, for real.
And I gotta salute the stand-in father, the Jewish cat. That dude stand up, man.
And he was hurt, man.
He never turned away from that young lady. He still embraced her at the very end, knowing what he. Just think about, man. This man that raised this young lady, knowing this dude pretending to be my homeboy, smashing my wife.
Right,
man. Do you know how many people land? Hey, it's this story. I don't know how much truth it is in my original neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. This man catching his wife messing around. He decapitated this woman.
Wow.
And when he decapitated the woman, he went to the bar and allegedly said, give me 2 beers, one for me and one for the broad. And he ain't say broad.
Wow.
So you know how many people dead for stuff that this lady did?
Oh yeah. It could have went completely south. So that, and at the end, fast forwarding, I don't know if the dad was necessarily mad at the daughter. Now when I think about it, I think he was just mad at how the situation went down.
But the daughter said, Lacey said, you know, my dad was mad at everybody. He was mad at the world. He was mad at my mom. And at some point I thought he was mad at me. Well, think about how many black baby mamas look at their kids and be like, see the baby daddies in them.
Right.
And I can't stand, look just like your daddy. So of course, you know, when he had to look at her every day, that was, you know, he was torn. I'm sure he loved her.
Yeah.
Because he showed that in his actions, but a part of him that killed him every time he looked at her too. You know, because he knew what the deal was.
Yeah. And Golden just told me it is true. It was at the Rock Bottom Lounge.
Wow. So you saying he came in there with her head?
With her head.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's people that died for what she's done.
Yeah. It could have went south. Yeah, she well, the dad definitely. Oh yeah, the woman. Yeah, she definitely has some Florida Evans. If she's seen or hadn't seen Good Times, she was definitely saying "damn" when that baby came out.
Man,
Ron J, thank you for tuning in.
out of Canada.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Cole says, I had to deal with issues of not fully knowing my family because my father was a Black Panther and separated himself from the rest of his clan. And I have 2 Black parents. Yeah, I think we could all at some level relate to this.
Right.
Because and especially when you get into high school, you're trying to figure out, okay, what clique do I fit in? Who do I fit in with? She still didn't fully know who she was, but she knew that she was different based on how people looked at her, based on she was even embraced with the Black when she got to college and the Black student union. So I mean, I think the biggest part that I felt was just the confusion that you have. You already got to go through life. You already got to go through school. You already got to go through each of these stages. When you put that confusion in there, that just makes it, I think, 10 times harder for you, especially at a younger age. So I think that's what she experienced. Peggy had an itch only Rodney can scratch. I never understand how some women can lay that nasty down after tooting it up for someone else in the same day. Yeah. All right. So
easy.
Yeah, about halfway through in my notes I have what the hell is going on? And who is this girl daddy? That's exactly what I was like. I know they was gonna get to the point eventually. But I was like, what's the punchline? Basically, it was like a bad joke. Like, at what point are we gonna know who the dad is? At what point in the film was y'all starting to get to that point, Dawk?
I probably about that same point. Okay, I know y'all are gonna tell us, but I was fascinated by everything that was going on, so it wasn't. I was comfortable in the direction that they were going to get there. I knew they were going to get there, so I wasn't pressing it because they were keeping me entertained with the rest of the story.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Same for you?
Yeah, I think I was about the same actually, because it was kind of like at that point it was like, I don't know, it wasn't even something I was thinking about because I was so
that's exactly right. Exactly right. And at the end of the day, it really didn't necessarily matter who the daddy was at one point, right? It didn't matter. And I thought there was a possibility that she didn't know.
Exactly.
I thought, that would have been right. Possible. Right. That
absolutely.
Shit. I mean, she wouldn't be the only white lady out there that just slept with multiple Black dudes who didn't know who the daddy was. She knew she was Black, but she didn't know which Black daddy it was.
Thank you.
That could have easily been possible.
And like I said, you had protests going on, you had music festivals going on, you had block parties going on, people coming from across the bridge, across the subway. I mean, shit is going on. Somebody, I mean, man, this is what it is.
I have a skank for 500, Bob.
Yeah, VD, variable dick.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think she didn't know. I mean, this lady's just.
No, I'm just saying for us, we gotta understand that's our first time watching it, so we don't know whether she knows or not. I'm saying the possibility as we're going through it, the possibility of her not knowing who the dad is.
Because honestly, I didn't even expect for it to come up. I just thought they were gonna.
It didn't matter.
Right. I didn't think they were going to ever, maybe they show a picture and, he got killed in a war or something. Or
whatever,
he moved, whatever the case was. I don't know,
And I do wish we would have heard more from him. Obviously, he passed away during the filming, but he wasn't one of those that was sat down and interviewed. I would love to have heard his side of it because it was more so this was Rodney. This is what Rodney did. This is. And Rodney died, and that was basically it.
Yeah.
I mean,
the way I took this whole entire thing was this is the love of a child and his mother and her mother. Ain't nobody making their mother look bad. This is the rated G version of this. I think this got real ugly, real complicated, real fast. I think.
Yeah, and she fronted her though, and a lot of she cornered her. So I mean, I'm sure it could have off camera. I
think this is a very Jewish, very white, very I don't necessarily think there was no ugliness, too much more than what we saw because they they vanilla, they ain't,
Nah,
they went all this time without saying nothing, and even though they knew something, shit, if it was gonna get ugly, they had plenty of time for the shit to get ugly.
Right? Why are you gonna wait now?
When the truth comes out, that ain't time to get ugly.
Because because they're human, I mean, I understand. From our perspective, the Jewish community is very straight-laced and laid, and reserved. But you're human, and sometimes all it takes is that flame of truth to be the flame of the truth to hit something, and then it's a powder keg, man. That man has been walking around for 20 some odd years, probably hating that woman, man. I put all this into you, and like I said, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
Look at it like this. You walking around, you trying to protect this young lady. You got you don't want to explode because the young lady is the result of the situation. She's not the cause of it.
Right.
So I'm going to protect my daughter because if we from y'all in the South and we all from the South. Hey man, if I feed you too many times, you mine. So that's his daughter in his mind.
Yeah. And
he walking around with that secret. He got anger. He got guilt. He got humiliation. He walking around this town, and everybody in this town, you got children.
Everybody knows.
You really white. Let me see your gums. He dealing with that. She coming home crying because they saying this happened this day and this happened this day. Come on, man. We know white America. We know white America. White America will. That racist thing is here. It's in our face. We try to pretend it because we're open-minded. We try to push that off on everybody else. I don't have a problem with culture. Race is a construct. It's not even real. But I just can't imagine walking around, living a life all these years, and then I've made peace with it. I've walked away from this woman. I'm in my hometown. My family's still dealing with it. My family is embracing it. I don't want to blow up the spot. And then all of a sudden, my daughter throws it in my face. Right. Think about the look on that man's face when his daughter said, I think I want to look into something else. I think I want to look into being black. Man, I'm sitting there hot as fish.
She said, I identify as black.
Right.
And that's when I think he was.
I don't know.
Well, he said no shit. He goes,
I knew that.
Yeah, he's like he knew. Yeah, from the entertainment, the music.
I think my whole point is that we are looking at how we would react, and I'm saying what makes the world go round is that there are a lot of people who. How many people have you been looking at their situation and saying, "Man, what the f are you doing? Why are you tolerating this? Why are you not reacting this way? Why are you not reacting that way?"
He's made a certain piece.
So everybody don't get gangster like that.
Yeah, but because even when they were sitting there having the beer, I mean, he's kind of like, I mean,
I knew it already.
Surprise,
I personally know people in situations to where they got kids that are not theirs and they know it, and they sitting there right there, and they are not going Looney Tunes. They are happily going through the situation.
I think everybody
go Looney Tunes, but I've been in situations that I had to eat it, and I'm eating it as we speak. And I would hate for that situation to nuke the block and hit me in my face.
Yeah. Now I think obviously the parents got divorced, so Peggy and Robert got divorced. I think another piece of that they didn't really talk about as they didn't have any kids together, so. I think that probably also had a lot to do with their splitting up. I mean, you think of living a life for that long.
Reason there's no question about it that thing finally got to him, and he may even choke the ass for 20 seconds.
That's
probably did.
And this is a good comment right here. He's not the stepdad; he's the dad that stepped up.
Straight shout out.
He could have bounced. He could have, when that baby came out, he could have said, "I'm gone," but he stuck around.
That's what I said, man. He a hero, man.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
That's the way the man cut the lady head.
Oh, at the Rock Bottom Lounge.
Yeah.
Cole said, y'all are too funny. That woman was saying Molotov cocktails crashed through liquor stores, but it wasn't nearly as hot as her bedroom. Larry Brandon, thank you for tuning in. Trey Naturals in the building.
2 weeks, my G.
How you doing? Go Nuggets. He said a Canadian on the team. They up by one. They up by one in the third.
Because I made this white man mad when his wife complimented me on my beard in South Carolina. I mean Louisville, Kentucky. So that's because of Trey Naturals products on here. You hear me? They probably get divorced too. I hope she don't come out with no black baby in about 9.
Hey,
you had somebody hitting you up. Yeah. Your boy Chief said
it'll be little Dawk lies. Little baby. Imagine a little baby with a beard.
with it coming out with a fade, with a fade in the beard.
A little beard.
Yeah, Dawk is back. But 1 week on.
What a bitches.
What's up, Chief? Listen, what Ivan is saying is not all right.
Because all white.
Yeah, exactly, all white. All right. Yeah, I'm backed up on some comments, so let's go through some comments here. Y'all think now she's gonna go that black route now? Well, she married. Are you talking about the daughter?
Soul brother.
Yeah, she married.
At the end,
brother. Yeah.
And she said she felt more comfortable around black people. She, it's like when she hadn't been around black people all her life. When she started hanging around them in college, she's like, "Fuck, I finally fit in somewhere."
Right.
Yeah. She found her clique. She found her.
That's another thing.
Her what? Wait a minute.
Well, I'm sorry. What?
Click.
Found her what?
Click with a K. Not with a T, with a K.
And see, that's why I believe it was more drama.
You need to speak. You need to slow down.
That's why I believe it was more drama, though. Because I got 2 homeboys. Their mom is white. Their dad is black. Pete and Dave Harris. And when their dad got murdered, he was a police officer. He got killed on the job. They went right into the other direction. Now, Pete and Dave used to hang around us, but they went right into the white culture. And for her to make that connection and feel to be yearning for that, I believe she was being mistreated more than she's letting on. I think it was more traumatic than she's making this a story of fluff. I think she caught hell, and then when she saw those people, when she saw her people, when she saw her tribe, she was being welcomed in with no questions asked. That's why I believe it was deeper than what she's letting on.
Right. CJ said nigga, I would have dipped so fast. If he was in that hospital room, he'd been like, 2 words, I'm gone. Have a good life.
Yeah. Sayonara.
Click. Not to be confused with, yeah.
Just saying.
Dogs are looking nasty. I love it. They always, that's why they're there in the bottom.
All right.
All right, so she went to high school.
Neighborhoods in certain cities called the bottoms. That's bad neighborhoods.
Yeah. Very much.
So she went to high school, and she said this was her first time she went to school with black people. So even for her, that's she was sheltered for sure. Mm-hmm. They did everything possible for her to think she was white. And then when she went to the high school,
that's what it was. I don't even think that they necessarily had to try anymore to indoctrinate her, right? The way culture is set up, it is a brainwashing culture anyway. Our school system itself is a brainwashing culture. It is designed to get you to think a certain way. Yeah. That's why they pay you to enroll kids in it, because the people who own the education system, who started it, said, this is our curriculum. We need you to be thinking like this when you come out of it. Right. So for her to say, I was programmed in city school, Of course you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when they said, why are you, the black girls in high school asking, why are you trying to be white? She was taken aback. She said, I ain't trying to be white. I am white.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? You know, so she legitimately thought she was white.
Right.
I'm not white. I'm OJ. No.
Okay.
So she ends up going to Georgetown. So she has some moments in her life that started to change her thinking. Definitely, I think the high school moment. And then when she applies to Georgetown, and they automatically are like, because she had to submit a photo, they're like, yeah, you're going to get in because you're black.
Well, see, remember, that was the very first application that she did not put down what her race was.
Yeah.
So again, her boyfriend in high school, remember she said at 16, that was another key time in her life because he started to push her and be like, okay, this ain't something going on. You need to ask them this. You need to ask them that. He was pressing her on it. You know, so much to where to this, the HRap's point, they had some arguments, I'm pretty sure, like, leave this shit alone. I'm tired of you talking about it. He probably kept pushing her ass on it. Okay, so when she filled out this college application, first time she does not put what she is. You got to send a picture in, which is awfully freaking suspicious, right?
Yeah.
You got to send a picture in with your college application. So once we saw it, we listed you as black. Right. For you. You didn't have to do it. We put it for you.
Yeah,
so
we decided.
Tiger Woods.
Moment in her life. Yeah. So now she starts to go, she goes to college. She attends the Black Student Union. She loves it, you know, because there's all kind of black folks in there, not just traditional black folks, right? There's just brown people in there, folks from other countries and cultures that consider themselves quote unquote black, whatever, right?
Right.
She fits in. They're welcoming because we as a people are more accommodating anyway.
Yep.
To strangers, you know, for the most part. So, you know, wasn't nobody asking her to see the color of gums. They was asking about her hair. Dang, your hair curly. You wear it that way all the time. Do you you ever straighten it? Do you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But they weren't in a judgmental way or in a way that was designed to cast her out or make her feel bad or whatever. You know, we still recognize the differences in ourselves within each other, but not in a way where we're trying to, you know, alienate you. You know, hell, we do it within our own family. You know, hell, this weekend at the house, my light skinned cousin, I'm like, y'all know y'all just can't fight. Hell, you know, y'all, you know, it's what it is. But we're not trying to make them feel bad.
Right.
We just talking trash, you know.
Yeah. And she said this early on. I think this was in the opening of the documentary. She said, "I didn't know that I was passing."
That's right. And that word, because based on some of the films that we had watched, passing, that means she's now she done been enlightened to what that is, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I didn't even know I was passing when some folks was trying to do it. I was accidentally.
I was just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah. And that was a film we did, Passing. I don't know if there's. I wasn't here. I didn't watch that one. I wasn't here, but I'm sure it has some parallels. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Except back over there, because she was trying in the movie Passing. That's why they were like afraid for her life. Like they will kill you.
Right.
You know, it was like life or death.
Yeah, because like HRap point, like he said, I mean, that husband when he came when he went to that party, he was like, "Nah, this ain't how long you." You couldn't believe it.
And they even mentioned the one drop rule here.
Yep.
You know, right? You know, like one drop of your blood is black. You black.
Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, a prime example.
She mispronounced combination, but I know what she was talking about.
I was trying to see the part when she started sleeping with AI when she was at Georgetown, but they skipped that part.
And I think another big point in her life when she started going to therapy, which man, for something that hits you at that point in your life, you got to talk about it.
Yeah,
and I think she said this. She couldn't really talk to her mom because her mom was defensive and her mom wasn't really being honest. Couldn't talk to her dad, and I don't think she was in a type of relationship.
She says I tried to talk to him, but either he freaked out or ignored.
Yeah.
You know, because he didn't want to talk about one of the most, probably not one of the most, the most painful thing in his entire existence.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, of course he didn't want to talk about it. You know, he's probably thinking to himself, ain't it good enough that I raised and kept my fucking mouth closed? Do I got to talk about it?
I got to talk about this?
Dads don't want to talk about shit. We just want to fucking handle it. Leave us alone. You know, we don't take care of it, but your price is don't talk.
Right.
You know, I'll pay for it. Just shut up.
You drink this?
Yeah. AI was hitting threes on and off the court. He was.
Oh, he was.
Definitely. But and then when he left that message, he was like, "Hey, you know, we can talk about this, but I'm gonna give you the time. I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk."
Yeah, and she made a very poignant point toward the end where she says at one point, and I think it was after her second conversation with her dad, she was like, "I realized at that point that I'm trying to heal multiple people in that's in a part of the same situation, but because their perspectives are different and their healing is going to be different. I was expecting us to do this whole let's all heal at the same time and move forward at the same time, but that's not realistic." And I thought that was a key statement in the fact that how many situations in life are like that? You know, maybe a dude and a girl get into it, he's over it and wondering why you ain't over this shit yet. You know, well, people heal at different rates, you know. You know, or siblings were faced with the same situation in their family, you know, where maybe they were molested by an uncle or maybe something happened and they're wondering, why isn't this affecting you the way it's affecting me? You know, well, people are different, right? You know, so people heal at different rates and in different ways.
Yeah, because you could clearly see one time when she went to summer camp, her mama slept with a steak on her eye, probably. That's my old boy didn't want to talk about it. I popped your mama. I popped your mama.
Yeah.
Stevie Lott, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you.
That, Stevie. Kind words, man. Appreciate
that. Yeah. So she college definitely opened up her eyes. I think she got more comfortable with who she is and she was more ready to, I think, confront her parents too, or her mom really, because her mom did keep it real. She was like, if you want to know, you know, I'm gonna tell you. I think she probably did left some stuff out though too.
Working during some of the stuff she was saying, like her mom did not feel bad about none of it.
No, she had zero. That part pissed me off. Like, come on, you better be crying. You better be.
She was thinking about that ding-a-ling, boy. That's why she was smirking.
Like, man, we had a time last night. We had a time last night.
You don't worry about that.
And let me just throw this aspect out it to play a devil's advocate. Okay, let's say she was really in love with Rodney. That was the love of her life. Should she be feel bad about I had the love of my life and I spent however long I spent with him based on whatever pressures, you know, she felt, you know, like, you know, I couldn't have left at the time, whether it be I made a financial decision, whether it be I wasn't ready for the pressure from my own Jewish community if I were to leave and stay with him, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think
she just had to be more careful though, man. Like you got to be a little bit more careful, man.
Instead of letting it be wrong. What you mean?
No, I mean, I'm just looking at it from historic. I'm looking at it from a historic point of view. How many men in the bottom of lakes in the southern part of the country because of the behavior that she displayed? She just got away with it. Did nobody get hurt?
It was white. That was the difference.
Hey, homeboy, he didn't have to take the pussy.
No, I'm just saying. Hey, but you know what?
It's on him.
No.
No, I'm saying he took it. He accepted it.
No, I'm just saying. It's a million. It's thousands of men who didn't rape anybody, who are in the penitentiary, who are dead because of actions of people like this.
You see, they said I would have clipped that whole down some stairs or something. We got a little too. Yeah, got a little too
Yeah, I
close to
mean,
themselves.
I'm just looking at it realistically, man. She was wrong as hell, man. I mean,
I don't think anybody
I'm
doubts that.
I'm not
but-
speaking from the perspective of somebody who I ain't standing in the glass house. You know what I mean? I've done this very wrong, but guess what? The wrong didn't show up in the form of a human.
Huh?
But
She
when you're dealing with
didn't
people,
show.
man,
She didn't
I mean,
show enough
I noticed,
remorse on
this
camera.
girl.
Now maybe she cried other ways, but
Yeah, this girl, man, I know that feeling. That's why maybe it's just hitting different for me because I know that feeling of wondering. You know what I mean? I'm a 52-year-old man, and I have to look at my kids because I wonder sometimes, like, man, what was Johnny like, man? You know, that's my pop's name. You know what I mean? Yeah. I ain't walking around schizophrenic and things like that, but I understand being 14, 15 years old and wondering. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, no, man, this lady is trifling, man. I mean, no. And maybe I'm being emotional or whatever.
But no, she was trifling.
She was trifling.
Yeah, I don't think anybody denies that, you know. But
right.
what I'm saying is Rodney is not free from guilt. You know,
Rodney a creep.
Our brothers in these situations that take.
Rodney is a raw
even
dog.
Even in some of the movies we've seen before, you know, where brothers are taking that white coochie, and even their family is saying, you know, this is dangerous. You know, you shouldn't be doing this. Right. You know, so they still got a decision to make. You know,
let's not get it twisted. Rodney is a POS, man. Flat out, because it's for two reasons. For one, I've done a lot of wrong in my life, but I ain't never touching nobody's wife. Two, I'm not touching. If guess what? If one of us fall out and we still doing the show, but let's say I move down to Dallas and one of us fall out, we still doing the show. I'm not chasing up behind your woman and smiling in your face. That's two. Three, you let somebody raise your child and you were able and willing to allow this lie to live, man. And you know how tough it is in this brown skin in this country. So Rodney and old girl, they both need to be holding on to some anchors and dropped into the lake, man. This is wrong. This girl is gonna struggle for the rest of her life with her identity. Because
they didn't know the side piece. They didn't know the side piece rules, CJ.
No, man, what are side piece rules is, man?
Yeah, she was, what's a side piece?
Right.
They
know.
They know what HRap, where you say, you know, maybe you're being emotional about it and it's hitting different from you. Maybe the fact of the matter is I'm desensitized to it because in our community, we see this all day, every day. Yeah. All day, every day, where kids don't know who their daddy is, or their daddy ain't at, you know how many times in our community where you can go to an elementary school to the father-daughter dance, and it ain't the daughter, half our daughters.
Absolutely.
So it's a situation where I'm desensitized to it. Hey, you know how many?
But this is different. We talking about a cultural thing now. See, it's different if Dawk hook up with HRap's ex or Ben's ex or Wilks' ex right after, like in the movie Biker Boys. Fishburne was dating the kid's mama, and then his homeboy started dating her afterwards, and he raised the boy as his own. It's the same situation, but it's identities. You got identity issues, and again, I personally believe we are seeing the rated G version of this. She was getting called that magic word. She was being mistreated because it just seems awful strange to me that if you truly thought if you were, I'm not going to doubt her thinking she was white.
Yeah.
But I believe that she assumed that she was an outsider from the word go, because no matter how, I'm brown, I can't deny it, but I can't imagine assuming that I'm black all this time, and then I go down to Morris Brown and they got a Hispanic section, and all of a sudden I found out I'm Dominican, but I'm just gravitating towards them. No, that girl was experiencing trauma, and that's what made her ride that boat and float over there with them black people, because now I'm finally accepted for who I am. That's why I say it's bigger than this. I think that woman and whatever her mama name is, Karen and Rodney, they wrong, man, because like I said, man, you're right. We dealing with mama's baby, papa's maybe, the milkman baby. We got all these sayings. We get it. But I believe when it's bicultural and you don't have that identity situation, I think it's just a little different. Because anytime somebody walking up to you telling you to show them their gums because they know you different, other people making these comments, you had to carry that your whole life. I just, like, again, we are seeing the rated G version. If Spike Lee would have did this, or John Singleton would have did this, or a traditional filmmaker would have did this, I think we will be unpacking a whole lot of messiness, only because we live in the United States of America. If this was England, or if this was Europe or another country, I would agree with you. But
it was messy. He said, "Good day, mate."
Good day, mate.
But it was messy. It was messy regardless. And I think we see this story. We've heard this. We've had any friends that were biracial. We've heard them tell us this story because they went through it. Or people, we would ask them,
accepted by
"What are you?"
Us or
right?
Yeah,
exactly. So I don't think this story is necessarily new. I just think the way it happened was shady.
Was different. The way it happened was new. For me, right? It was a new deal, right? Because you were, I never heard the Jewish community involved, and all that other kind of stuff. So that aspect of it was a new twist on an old story, right?
You better, bro.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't think I've ever seen this in the Jewish, because they are, for the most part, straight laced. They keep everything in house.
But I'm like this. There's probably more that goes on there, but they are just tight-lipped. That's why this was not new for them, just to be able to just blinders on, and we just gonna keep moving forward like the elephant in the room doesn't exist.
Right.
It's not that their culture don't do shit. It's just that secrecy means a little more in some communities than others.
Secrecy to the grave.
It's more of a, like you said, a secret thing. I think they don't think they cut a fool in public.
There you go.
Like people, Latino people, we cut a fool wherever you act up. That's where you're getting shook up.
They're gonna clown. They're gonna clown.
Well, how many cut you now?
Politely. And they probably gonna say, "Ma'am, you are a bitch." In other words, when they cut you out, they're gonna do it politely.
Oh, man, I think that's funny. But I just think that's the image, because, hey, man, it's some yarmulkes in the penitentiary for killing people too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Terrorists.
Yeah. And when you said trifling, I laughed, because that's my uncle's favorite word. Anytime somebody do something ignorant, you trifling. Use that word all the time. But yeah, she was definitely, and I think the mom I'm talking about, I think she started throughout this documentary. I think she realized more and more how hurt her daughter was, and I think that probably kind of changed her tone, because it was real, just like matter of fact, like it is what it is.
Because you got to understand, as humans, our minds are rigged to self-justify. So even if we're in the middle of mess or doing mess or whatever, we are conditioned to self-justify our mess and to condemn other people's mess. It's just what it is, right? So I'm sure to a certain extent for her, she was like, "You got a good life. You done always had a roof over your head. You done always had clothes on your back. You done always had a good education. You done always had you follow me? So in her mind, she's trying to justify it that way. But when her daughter started having some real conversations with her, that's why them crocodile tears started rolling down at some point.
Yeah, because she said she said at one point she hoped she would stop talking.
Yeah. But I think a lot of this was based on Lacey, because she said, "Look, I'm not y'all. I'm not just gonna sit back and not talk about this. I'm gonna talk about it. So either you gonna respond, or I'm gonna keep asking you questions. Eventually, you got to." So I think she was a major part of this, because she could have been one of those. She could have been just like her family and said, "I know that I'm black, but I'm not gonna push the issue." But nah, she pushed the issue to the point of coming out with a full documentary. So,
and if I was Lacey, I'd have been mad because you named me fucking Lacey.
Yeah.
You knew I looked like Shaniqua. Hey, you could have gave me.
You could have
called
named
me Lolo. You could have called me Lolo or something. Yeah, Lacey.
Maybe Rodney liked those laces she was wearing.
Hey,
wow.
Rumor has it Peggy's still looking for Rodney with a flip phone. Yeah, Rodney gone. Rest in peace to Rodney. And who did you say Rodney looked like? Well,
I say like Bill Withers.
Yeah, he did look like Bill Withers.
I say that Bill Withers.
Yeah, he did look like Bill Withers.
Yeah, I was like, what? And then they even said that eventually, I guess
Rodney was just raw dog.
Said he had a little frame to himself, but I mean, not big.
Well, see, I'm gonna tell you like this though, Peggy. Did you not miss the comment where Peggy said, "I liked having somebody who would jump to when I said." So Rodney was her yes man, and I don't know how that dynamic worked.
He's sitting at the table having dinner with him.
Yeah, I don't understand how nothing went down at that moment.
Rodney feels, man.
How Robert didn't try to choke Rodney. I don't get how that didn't happen.
Robert wasn't gonna choke that dude, man.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Hey, man, I would have. That's one of them times, man. I might have just gone ahead take the L. If I couldn't fight, you gonna have to whoop me that day. Yeah, when you sitting at that table,
as men, we are prepared to lose, nigga. You know whether we gonna. But you ain't. There's such line you ain't gonna cross. Whether you can beat me or not, you gonna have to beat me today. Then.
Yeah,
Rodney was fighting. Yeah. He was too busy stroking.
I'll take the L.
Yeah.
Rodney wasn't gonna fight, man. He too busy piping down the coochie, man. Chill out.
Yeah. Hey, man, that right there, man. Because I mean, homeboy sitting at that table, probably thinking, how many times have you sit at this table and smash my woman, man?
Right.
I'm getting whooped. Either one of us got to get whooped.
Which is why when they snap, it is I'm finna take a head to the bar because they've pressed it so long.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've been stewing in it.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying, man.
To blow up.
Rodney and homegirl, they just wrong, man. I mean,
now I tried to look up. Does anyone know if her parents are Lacey and Robert, if they're still alive? I'm assuming. I couldn't find anything.
Well, the mama's still alive, and as of the end of this, the mama and the father was still alive.
Yeah.
Because remember, the father came to the wedding.
Yeah. But I'm saying like that was what 7 years.
Yeah, I mean they about 75 years old. They might still be alive, man.
Breathing, man.
I would imagine.
They they was Jewish. They ain't no pork chops.
Yeah. Ham sandwiches.
They ain't got no high blood pressure.
He might today.
He might. Yeah. Hey,
he definitely has high blood pressure.
Don't be surprised if you see on the news, homeboy just finally, man.
Be an episode of Dateline.
I'm telling you, man. He looking at. I'd have been looking at Rodney like I should put you in the head like a fall with you.
Yeah. and kind of the moment towards the end where they, Robert and Lacey had a sit-down conversation, and he was saying that her mom didn't tell him, but I mean, you had to have an inkling. He said he didn't know until she was 16, but you had to have known.
I think it was he saw.
She just didn't tell him anything till the end.
Yeah,
and then she was playing Bone and Biggie. Come on, man.
But like HRap said, we got the G-rated version.
Come on, son.
It's the first of them.
You can't tell me they never had no parties. I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably came over.
Because remember, he said I could tell because I was looking at the music he was listening to.
Right.
Yeah.
She wasn't dancing like Elaine Bennis from
really.
No.
Yeah, and when she in that video. In the video, the way she was dancing, everybody was like, "Whoa, she ain't one of us." Another girl didn't have no rhythm. Yeah, that's what I told Eric. I was like, the tail sign was that she had rhythm and y'all didn't.
Right. She the only one in the family that can dance.
Right.
Why you always watching Soul Train, girl?
Why you always watching 106 in Park?
You always watching the Soul Train.
When she twerked at that bar mitzvah, y'all should have knew something.
Yeah.
Right.
Then at the end, when they was doing the electric slide, and all the white people were standing in the back, like, "What's this?"
And she
I don't know
knew
if you seen
the
at the
moves
wedding.
already.
Yeah.
She called it the bus stop.
Well, I mean, come on. Every black kid is born knowing how to do the electric slide.
That's
It's
automatic.
But HRap.
you don't have to teach it.
It's
Not
automatic.
hard. Not hard.
It's automatic.
All right, let's rate
All
this
right,
thing.
final thoughts. Game is winding out. It's 84-86 with 3 minutes, 21 seconds left.
In the fourth?
In the fourth. So this
Low scoring, isn't it?
That's low scoring. Yeah, that's that third quarter score right there.
this could
He
be
didn't
it.
take all the foolish threes, probably.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts. We're gonna start with Wilks.
I give it 3 mics.
No thoughts?
Nah, no, I got no thoughts. 3 mics.
All right.
That's a wrap.
Doc.
Yeah. I started at 3 mics because remember we had talked about where we started, where we ended. So before I go there, Wilks, did you start at 3 and stayed at 3, or did you adjust at all? Okay.
I was 3.
I started at 3, but because remember I said I wanted to look at it from not only a basic filmmaking standpoint, but also a thought-provoking standpoint. So from a basic filmmaking standpoint, I just give it a 3. I didn't see anything special in the way the documentary was filmed, but because of the thought-provoking nature, I did bump it a little bit to a 3.5 after our review today. So I'm.
I will say this to Doc's point. Like I said, I wasn't even concerned about who the dad was. I just couldn't believe the story.
Yeah.
The story was good enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
And just as an FYI, IMDb gave it 7.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 80%, and 87% of Google users liked the movie. So, 3.5 mics for me.
All right. HRap.
I mean, it was an excellent story, thought-provoking, emotionally provoking. It was a provocative story. I would give it a 3.5. I started off at 3.5. I'm gonna end it at 3.5. It was a hell of a story. It was worth the watch. I would suggest anybody who's interested to make sure you check this out. It's worth it.
Yeah. I felt like for this to be her first directorial debut, I felt like she did a pretty good job. And with it being your own family, it's not so this it's not like this was a topic of something that happened in history and you don't have nothing to do with it. This was her trauma, her issue. She was at the center of all of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually gonna give it a 4 because I felt like this was not the film wasn't great. Obviously, it was older, but I felt like to put your mess out there really and to figure out to get to the end of an answer. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give it a 4. I think I started at a 3.5.
HRap, yours was a 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then our cumulative average then will be 3.5 today.
Yeah.
Since we got Wilks at a 3, HRap at a 4, and Wilks at a 3, being at a 4, and me and HRap at 3.5. It comes out to a 3.5.
All right. So next week we are going to do 1001. And this is, yes. This is starring.
They got some black in them.
Yeah.
Tiana Taylor.
That used to be one of my lines at the bar, HRap. I go up to this white chick and say, "Hey, you got black in you?" She goes, So you want some?
You want some?
Oh. Is it not yet?
Let me finish this gin and tonic.
And the guy from True Story, Hirsch, he's in 1001.
I don't think I heard of this one. What is it? I don't think I've.
It's on Peacock, YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think I heard
hurry up. You can get Peacock for $19 for the year.
Yeah. Or just add a 3 to your email.
No, $19 for the year.
Thank you, Calvin.
For the next 365 days. $19.
Go ahead. So 1001 next week. It's 90 to 89. So we are less than a minute. We'll see what happens.
That's a close game.
Hey, this going down to the very end.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn it on in a minute.
All right, so what's coming up tomorrow on End of the Bench?
I'm talking about how artificial intelligence is threatening the existence of some people. They are saying within by 2040 it will be 1,000 times, actually 1 million times smarter than we are. They're saying it is 40 times smarter than Albert Einstein as we speak. And the great question is, the person who helped invent it, the guy who just quit Google, he's saying it only takes 1% of us to inflict and interject ourselves into AI to save the human race, because AI will eventually elevate and say, hey, who's worthless here? I have some thoughts on that. Like my pastor say, he said, this is from the book of James. This is coming from the book of HRap. I have some thoughts on that. Tune in tomorrow. And Elon Musk has officially tapped into something that we thought was a joke. He has been medically approved to put chips in people's heads. According to him, the chips will help just people with disabilities, people who's lost their hearing, their eyesight, physical disabilities, and it will also help you download your memories. But let's not forget, there's certain people like Walt Disney, Ted Williams, who've had their brains cryogenically frozen for this moment. I got some more thoughts on that. And at the end of this month will be the end of the session for the Supreme Court. The Indian Child Welfare Act is on the table. I want people to pay close attention to the Indian Child Welfare Act. What is that? What is that? It was passed in 1977. In 1977, the indigenous people of what we call North America had a law passed here in the United States saying that if there is an indigenous young person up for adoption, an indigenous tribe gets first and second shot at that. There's a white couple in Texas saying that's reverse racism. And if you want to know why that's important to you, tune in tomorrow. The THAENDOFDABENCH media on YouTube, or you can find me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Podcasts, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Yes, and you definitely had a get together this weekend because you swatting the flies like
because these motherfuckers running in and out of the door at the back.
You need one of them electric.
I got one.
You got one? Okay.
Or just do you got a 2-liter bottle?
Yeah. With some
warm water, dishwashing liquid, vinegar.
Yeah.
Bubble it up. They'll go in there and you can throw it away.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like Denver is getting ready to close it out. We got less than 30 seconds.
Oh, that's it right there. That's a wrap.
What's coming up tomorrow on Queen Theron King?
A great show. Shit, I don't know. I figured that.
You figured
Talk
out
about something. Yeah.
We'll find something.
All right. 24 seconds left. HRap, go ahead and close us out.
It's a wrap.
As usual, thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit that like button, share the program, tell a friend to tune in. And salute to Reggie O'Shea, rest in peace. Combat Jack by saying, dream your dreams and man up, a woman up, and live your dreams. His life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor and surround sound. And y'all already know it's June. And I had to buy my kids some summer clothes. So if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God. God.
See ya. Wouldn't want to pay you.